Hello, all my little storms, and welcome back. And Shiguma, oh my god, I was not expecting that so quickly when I just started. But thank you, Shiguma, for the raid. Oh my goodness, thank you so much for trusting me with your community. And hello, all raiders. I am Arcreates. I'm a Storm Deity VTuber that does a whole bunch of art and also a variety of games, especially that of horror games, which I absolutely hate. This isn't my normal model that I usually stream with. This is my daddy model that we have agreed that this is the model that I will be continuously doing for the rest of the charity stream. Which, this is the last week of our charity stream that we've been doing for the entire month of April to raise some awareness of autism. And yeah, so, Shiguma nuts! It's Shiguma nuts, my boys! I should probably put my wings away. Hold on. My wings are a little out there, you know? Let's minimize them so you can see everything going on. Hello. It's been a while, Shigo. Actually, let me give you that shout out, because I keep forgetting to do this. How is a lovely art? Miss you. I am doing wonderful. I've just been so busy. I haven't been able to jump into anybody's streams recently. Like, even the VTubers that I do wish to watch, I can't even watch them because I'm so busy. I feel so bad because I'm like, I want to check out other people's streams and then I get busy and then I can't do it. And I don't know why this is. But I did see that you were playing earlier. I was like, oh, she is streaming right now. Maybe I should pop in and say hi. And then I'm like, I never do. That's it's fine. And it's understandable. The IRL stuff happens. Yeah. Well, it's all to do with my comic that we're going to be working on today. We're working on the main cast. We're basically just I'm making cute little like art pictures for the main cast that I'll be posting up every now and then. And there's a lot of stuff that I want to do, but I'm kind of also quote unquote making might turn into merch for my comic, because you know, we might as well just be like, hey, well, people might want to buy the merch for it and stuff like that. So that's what we're working on today. It's kind of an idea I've had in the back of my head to do. It's inspired by another artist. I was doing some fan art of Genshin Impact, and I was like, I kind of like how they kind of do that. Maybe I should do that before my comic characters, because I kind of liked the style that they were doing. Well, not the style, but I liked what they were doing. Most of my stuff and ideas do come from others, but it's just like, how can I take this and interpret it in my own way, you know? And that's what I do. But before we get into the stream and stuff like that, there is some serious stuff that we need to talk about. And the serious thing that we need to discuss right now is, apparently, in my neck of the woods, TikTok is going to possibly get banned where I am. Which is not really good, and not a whole lot of people come from TikTok to my streams, like, onto Twitch. But the thing is that I still have followers and post up content there. The thing is that I don't make any money from TikTok. I make no money from TikTok content. So I'm just gonna be completely honest. I don't make any money from TikTok content, but if TikTok does get banned, I still will be posting stuff on YouTube Shorts, but my reach and my community is not as big on YouTube compared to that of TikTok. I have almost like 1,500 followers. Sorry, I'm readjusting my headset. I have like 1,500 followers on TikTok alone, which isn't a whole lot. It's actually still pretty small, but like, I still like the things I have created on there. And I'm also starting to create some specific content for TikTok and YouTube Shorts in particular. And it's just like, really kind of saddening to see that an app that I also kind of enjoy as well, which I've found a lot of creators. I've even found some YouTubers through TikTok, so that's really nice. And to see that kind of go away and part of that community just leave is really saddening to see. So, in all cases, if TikTok does leave, if TikTok disappears, and if you're currently watching this on TikTok, because I will clip this, please go and follow me on my other social medias. I put it in my about, so if you are watching on TikTok, because I will clip this, please go and click on it and just follow me on all of my other accounts where I stream live, where I have my YouTube videos, and also follow me on Twitter. And, you know, while I'm live, I will pop up with my Discord stuff, right? So you can be able to follow me in so many other ways and areas. So that then, if we do lose TikTok, then at least you have another way of being able to see my content and reach out to it. Hold on, I need a... I'm being lazy. I was gonna do some other stuff, but we'll just do that. Never been on TikTok. All the TikTok exposure I have is from my mom sending me stuff from there. Yeah. I mean, TikTok is pretty great because it gets you I will say this much. TikTok and YouTube Shorts is really helpful to get new people to see your stuff. A lot of people talk about how you should be getting... Hi, Pug. A lot of people talk about how you should be getting your current viewers to keep coming back to your streams, or like keep coming back to your content.
Hi, Pug.
But the thing is that TikTok and YouTube Shorts pushes your content out there to newer people, so you can get new people coming into it. And it's also just other content that maybe people that follow you will continuously see. Honestly, with TikTok and YouTube Shorts, it's mainly a place to, like, grow and get more people to see you. The other thing is that it increases your search engine optimization. So that's SEO. So a lot of people talk about search engine optimization, which is SEO. Well, that's just basically you putting your content and stuff like that onto a variety of other platforms, in order to possibly direct people to your main content area, which would be Twitch for me. But I do also have my YouTube as well, where I upload all of my other videos. That's where this is all going. You know, that's where it gets put onto. It goes and moves over there. So a lot of different, and a lot of apps work very differently. But I will say, for the most part, like, taking my content, my Twitch content of me doing gameplays and stuff like that, and posting it up onto TikTok and YouTube Shorts has actually been really helpful for people to be able to find me and like my content and even begin to follow my content. But one caveat of TikTok and YouTube Shorts is that it will not always show it to your viewer base again. It will always be constantly showing it to a new group of people. So it always circulates around in people that they might think will like it, and then it goes out to the wider audience. And that's kind of what's happening. I will say, as a person that has a video that is literally going viral right now, it is crazy, like with TikTok in particular. But the thing is that I know that none of that stuff is ever going to translate over to Twitch, because people don't leave TikTok as the app. And even I've been like looking on TikTok, and everyone's just like, if TikTok gets banned, we won't move to over to other apps. And that's the thing. People like to be on one particular app and like don't leave it, whereas content creators need to be on every social media app to put our search engine optimization out there. Please pray for us, because oh my god, the amount of things that we need to keep on top of. But it's just very interesting. It's very different to kind of look at all this stuff. And, yeah. We need to be in all the apps. Yeah, I know. We have to infiltrate every app. Yeah, even True Social, man. Gotta infiltrate them. I don't know. I know that you don't know what True Social is, but let's just say you don't want to be on it. Especially if I'm supposed to be an anime character on the internet. That would be the worst place to go. But it's more of like, you should be on a few different apps in order to kind of reach out with your content. So yeah, I would say for the most part, I do TikTok, YouTube, Twitter or X, and Twitch. And that's more than enough for me. I used to do Instagram. That was too much. The reason being that I don't do Instagram anymore is literally because, one, most of that is more my professional stuff than it is that of my, like, VTuber stuff. So I kind of dropped it. And the other thing is, too, is that you deal with a lot of art spam bots and a lot of other stuff. So it's kind of just better for me personally not to be on there. Like, you had to be on Instagram, like, probably when I was first starting it, and just constantly keep posting once a day. Like, always keep posting. Like, never stop posting. I'm like, I don't make art fast enough to be able to post it. So that's why I got barely anybody that liked my shit. But yeah. So if TikTok goes away, then that means I only have basically 3 platforms that I put stuff on, which I'm gonna need a new one, and then it's like...
Every app, every platform, my froggy empire will have no bounds.
Yes, correct. Some people have been saying that Pinterest is a good place, and I'm like, Pinterest? Pinterest? No. It's art creates, not art mass produces. Exactly. Yeah. Actually, Shigu, I'm gonna be honest out here. That's exactly how I feel. Like, I still spend time, so after stream, I usually always spend maybe about an hour or two literally clipping and editing content that's gonna be posted onto other platforms. So that then on my days off, I can focus on doing my comic, or working on other art that I need to work on, or commissions that I need to do. Oh, excuse my dog. We have somebody doing some work, and she is going to be barking constantly. So you're just going to hear a little bit of barks in the background. So... Not gonna lie, I do need to do that too. Clips and edits of your TikTok and for TikTok and YouTube. Yeah, I would recommend using CapCut to edit. CapCut is free. You get a bunch of shit. And the thing is, basically, this is what I use to edit all of my stuff, right? I use CapCut for editing. In order for me to get all the meme sounds, there's this great place called, let me look it up really quickly, because I have it pinned. I have it, like, saved as a bookmark. It's called My Instas, and it's a free place to download a lot of meme sounds from, and you can look up a variety of meme sounds, and it will probably have it. So all of the meme sounds, Vine booms, anime wow that I use, all of that is literally from this. You can download it, you can use it as like a sound board if you want. There's a whole bunch of different things that you can do, which is absolutely great, and it's free. So I'm like downloading as many as I can, just in case. Just in case it's not free anymore. So I'm just like, whenever I get a chance, I'm downloading as much as I can right now. And then, and then I use like my emotes that I created for like comedic effect here and there. And there's a bunch of effects, like free effects. You can even put like pictures and GIFs that are already in CapCut that you can search up and put in there, and it's great. It's like a whole entire library of stuff at your disposal that you can use. And of course, one thing I do recommend, so I don't know if it really works, but sometimes some people put their Twitch link, like what it is, like their Twitch link, like in the video, like embedded, but like overlaid on top. And I don't know if putting it throughout the duration of the video is a good idea or putting it at the end. And I just put it at the end for like 2 seconds. So yeah, and that's all I do. And it works because I think that overlaying it or embedding it might be like too out in your face. So I just focus on making the content and making it funny and enjoyable for people to watch on a shorter form. So yeah.
Oh yes, Daddy.
Hi, Obi. Yeah, she's still rocking the daddy. I told you I'm doing it for the rest of this week. Yeah. It's for the rest of the week, Opie. I'm gonna be in dad mode. Daddy model, let's go. Actually, today was supposed to be... I know, it still makes me happy. Actually, you know what? Funny thing is, today was supposed to be Jose Narration Day, but the thing is that we keep forgetting to really organize this shit. So he's not doing that. And considering that now his schedule has changed for his work, we're gonna plan for a different day. Yeah, today was supposed to be the day, but instead we changed up a few things. But he knows his entire plan. He has an entire plan of how he was going to do it. And I think that you guys will enjoy it. It's going to be absolutely hilarious. It's going to be funny. But basically, I will have to mute my mic, and he is going to be the only one talking. And of course, you can make George talk as well. The George Creates stream as well. I don't know when I'm going to be doing that, but it might be another time where I'm just going to be like, I don't know, doing gameplay or something like that. Who knows? Maybe we'll do it during the Hades. Maybe. But yeah. But Shigu, that's my thing for if you want to edit stuff. And yeah. Oh, another great thing that you can do, Shigu, you can put markers on your stream. So that you know when to clip certain stuff. It should be in quick actions. You can add it under quick actions if it's not already there. It'll say add a marker, but I did add marker with description so I know what it is.
What do you mean you don't know what you are going to do? I'm going to be streaming. You can be buying things for me with your credit card.
You know, why am I not surprised that that was going to be your thing, George? Why am I not surprised with that? Remember, George, I brought you into this world. I can take you out of it. Oh my goodness. Actually, speaking about editing and stuff, I yesterday spent a little bit of time recording some videos to basically make into particular stuff for YouTube, TikTok, and Twitter. So basically there's just like extra stuff. Oh, thank you for the head pat. Thank you. This model doesn't break when you do the head pats. I don't know why my actual model does. It just like glitches out a little bit and I don't know why. And I've never been able to figure out why that does that.
Take this out.
Take what out? Rock button. In daddy model, you should put the head pats on the chest. Well, here, you know what, just for you, Opie. You know what we're gonna do? Here, let me get it. I think this one is the correct one. There you go. There you go. Is that what you want? Just for you, Opie. That's just for you. I gotta go rest now. Hell yeah. Okay, yeah. Go rest. There you go. There. Just for Opie. If anybody questions this, you know what? You know what? Opie, you have 2 hands, right? You have 2 hands. You have 2 hands. Let's let's make this weird. Let's make this even more weird. Why not? I think there's a way that I can flip. Yes, I can. Okay. Wait, why the fuck is... Okay, hold on a minute. I like that they're going at different speeds, too. Give Art purple nurple? No, we're not giving me a purple nurple. I just realized if I take off my shirt, technically, I think these might be blocking stuff. So hold on a minute. Let me just... All right, I have to... Oh, no, it does not block my nips. It does not block my nips. I like how the entire rest of the stream is just gonna be this. Some people are gonna be like, what the fuck is going on here? Just a little lower. Yeah, I know, right? We just need to put them a little lower. The thing is though, I think with my hotkey, the turning off the shirt only lasts a few seconds. So I'll change it. I'll change it to not do that. There. It will not fade now. Okay, let's... I forgot how to, like... Here, let's... There we go. There we go! This is premium content right here. This is how you make premium content!
Oh, yes, Daddy.
Oh my gosh. Yep. Look how chiseled I made my abs for no fucking reason other than just because I could. Wait, what? Oh, what? I'm scared now. She said, wait. Yeah, they do. They do. It's not a good jiggle, I will admit. Yes, I did. I did. There you go. Again, it's not good, but it's it's there. I can only imagine somebody clipping, like, literally popping in on this stream, literally going, what the fuck? Yeah, it's enough and it's glorious. You know what? Let's change over to the drawing screen and let's see what this freaking looks like. Because we need to see how this looks. There might be a possibility Twitch might get me for nudity, but we have no idea. Hold on. Oh no, I moved it! There. There. I'll be taller so you can still see it! Yeah, it's like, Twitch, don't worry. I have clothes on. There's just, it's just, you know, don't worry, the hands are cupping me. It's saving me. Don't worry about it. Oh, wait, I'm gonna turn this off. It's last week. I'm just gonna turn that off. But yeah. This is the okay, you know what? I've done a lot of stupid stuff. I think this is probably the most stupidest thing I've done on stream now. This is now it. This is definitely it now. What we drawn today? We're drawing the main cast. We're drawing the main cast of characters for the comic. That's what we're supposed to be doing, and instead I'm doing this. So we of course have art. We have Luthador here. I might move him over once we're done coloring him. We have Taida, and we have Veril here, who I have redrawn so many times that now I'm just like, this is now the final, you cannot change from this. The reason I'm kind of doing this as well is to have some character art of everybody so I can post it up. We have Selvek here, and I will say this is the first time I've really drawn his chair in action mode. What? What? Which one we eyeing? What are we eyeing? And then we have Golith here, as well. I will say this much. Sorry, people, he is taken. All of them. Actually, 2 of these are taking. And then the last one here is going to be Fira. Yeah, these two are married. They're not married to each other. They're just married to other people that I will talk about when we get to them. I don't know what we're gonna be or how far we're going to get, but yeah. I keep looking at my screen and I just see my model with the hands and I'm just like, what is happening anymore? I think I agree that I lost my sanity years ago, honestly. Oh my god, this little piece of hair keeps... So the problem with tracking is that if my hair is in the way, it literally stops tracking my eyebrows. So I have to keep readjusting it to make sure that my tracking is still being done. Actually, I need to turn on this other light to help with tracking as well. I have about like 2-ish lights to help, but still, it just... Nah. Anyways. Let's actually get to drawing, because it's been about like 30 minutes that we've been talking, and we need to get to drawing here. That's the point. That's the reason you're all here. Well, no, possibly the reason that you're all here is because of this, more than anything. I can only imagine people just clicking on the stream and just going, what is happening on here? It's like, don't worry about it. We're trying to draw characters and this is happening. just ignore it. Alright, I'm finally having lunch. Gonna lurk for a bit, but I'll be here. Okay, have that lunch. You better eat. Better make sure you guys eat. Eating is good. Better eat yourself. Eat yourself well. Eating is good, and so you better eat yourself well. That's how brain works. You can already tell my brain is like slowly losing itself. I finished all of the coloring for the prologue of the comic. I will admit, I did take a few days off here and there when I should have probably been doing stuff, but I kind of accidentally burnt myself out on it. So I'm not going to be doing that next time around. I know what my plan is for next time. I'm trying to remember which side her hair is on. I think it's this. Yeah, it is. I will say, I've been having kind of a blast really drawing these characters finally. Because these characters I have drawn before some years ago, so you can like look back at that. But I tried to make them to be very individual from each other. Because at the end of the day, oh, did I draw it on here or on here? I'll double check it later. Just gonna draw like that. But I wanted to draw them in some more action-y poses for these art pieces, because I kind of wanted to highlight how how their abilities and quote magic works. Technically, the world doesn't have magic. It's just more of a visual manipulation of chaos in itself. No, I'm not pulling a Demon Slayer with it. Like, people can actually see it, but it's just, I wanted to draw them with showing off more of their abilities of what they can do and what they have at their disposal. Because I thought that it would be a little bit more interesting to kind of cover that idea. Because, you know, I've never really drawn these characters in action magic poses when I probably should have. But I do know how the magic system of the world works. Basically, every community has their own ties to certain kinds of magic, or well, of the magic system. And the elemental base that I have is kind of different than how most magic systems are. So a lot of magic systems within different stories and worlds, you know, is based around elements. But I have one that isn't an element. And it's a non-tangible thing. That means that it's not something physically that you can pick up. But most of the other stuff is very, very tangible. So Fira here is, and her people oversee fire, which you would think, based on them being fire, that maybe the environment that they live in is very much that of a place of volcanoes and lava and all that sort of stuff. No, for some reason I made them desert people. I don't know, okay? Don't ask me. That's just how it happened. And then I was like trying to think about it more, and I'm like, well, maybe it makes sense in some sort of way with maybe a connection to fire, and maybe like this place used to be a luscious land until fire overtook it and created it into the barren desert wasteland that it is. Not to say that these people don't live in certain oases of certain areas. Kind of think of like, in Legend of Zelda, there's the, I forget what the people are, the Gerudo people? Like, kind of think of that. That's kind of how I imagine most of this. At least with Fira's people in particular. And Fira's people has a very big connection to another group of people, which is Goliath's people. Or, well, the Goliaths. But with Goalless people, which is... Goalless people are all basically kind of the dwarves of this world in a way. And the reason I just say the dwarves is because they live in more rocky underground areas. So they're all the miners and the workers that love to collect gems and precious things and all of that sort of stuff. And so, of course, the connection between Fira's people and their people would be extremely beneficial. And also because they live similarly close to each other, because the mountain range that most of Goalless people are from border on Fira's people's land. So because they border each other, of course they're going to have trade. So what is it that they trade in? And I had to think about it. I'm like, okay, well, they can't just be bordering here and then not give anything. And I was like, well, Fira's people is that of fire. What do you use fire for? Like, what are the abilities of fire? And then I was like, you know, there's a whole bunch of different things like light and all of this sort of stuff. And then I thought about it. I'm like, well, fire can also heat up metal, and metal creates armor and jewelry and other pretty pieces, right? And I'm like, that's what they'll trade in because it's beneficial to both of them. So even though that most of goalless people don't really actually wear much jewelry, and will show that with goalless, with how Goleth looks, his people don't use it, but they do like the melted metal, and they use that to tattoo their bodies, because their bodies is as hard as rock itself, meaning only certain things can be able to penetrate it. So they literally put into their body like gems and metals and all this other stuff, because it's non-toxic to them. Okay, they can put this stuff on their body and they're fine, because they're rock people basically. And so I had to think about like why would these people be so beneficial to each other, and I was like, that makes sense to why they would be beneficial. The goalless people would be mining out all the rock and stone, and then Fira's people would take that material and render it down into metal to create weapons and armor and swords and all this other stuff. Because their fire and their ability to use it is so proficient and gets to such extreme heats that they can melt and manipulate this metal in so many different ways. And because they're kind of basically fire retardant in a way, they can also kind of possibly even hand manipulate metal. And I would also be thinking that they're probably also great glass makers, using the sand at their disposal to make wonderful pieces of glass. So it's a very interesting way of how those people are going to work. And I know I've talked at length of the characters, and that's why I'm talking more about the culture and the people, so you kind of get a little bit of an understanding of when you're going into this comic. There's a lot of world building and things that I've thought about in order to, at the end of the day, make something like this. So the other thing is that you're going to definitely see a difference between how Fira dresses compared to how her partners dress, which is going to be different. I will be drawing the partners eventually. I'll be drawing like little family portraits of everybody down the line. That's something I want to work towards. Right now I'm mainly doing Luthador and Axe, but eventually I'm going to be moving on to Art and their partner, and then I'm going to be moving on to the others that also have it, that also have partner relationships. But Fira and Goleth are the two people in the entire party that already have relationships, so we don't see any of their relationship blossom or anything like that. They're not going to develop a romantic thing. They are already married. They already have partners, so you're seeing basically their partnership and what that is. And Fira's partnership is very interesting in itself because she actually has two people that she's married to. She is married to a person from her own people, which is a woman. And then she is also married to Veryl's race of people, which I call the furries of the world, because they basically have very animalistic looks to them. Some look like, how they just have like cat ears and a tail, or some of them are going more on to the furry side of the place. So it just depends on the extreme stuff, and it's just all different. But they mainly have animalistic parts to them. They have animalistic behaviors as well, based on the animal that they are kind of have. But yeah, so. And I kind of had to think of like all of that sort of stuff. But the main key thing of her partners, like Fira's partners in particular, have always been, to me, the exact same. Like, they've always been basically the same from what I remember them being, which was they were and always will be. One will be from her people and another will be from a different people. And I was like, well, I feel like maybe maybe somebody from Varel's race would be very interesting. And the reason being is because, I don't know, heat intolerance. Like, you know, these people are able to be out in the desert, in the hot areas. They can deal with it. They can deal with the extreme heat that everything comes with. I think that's the other reason why I put them out in the desert, is because, like, it also makes sense. They're able to deal with these extreme heat temperatures. However, they suck with cold. They hate cold temperatures. Like, just despise the cold. So all of their food and everything like that is very hot. It's very spicy. Like, other people say, like, they can't, eat it because their stomach would turn inside out. So, like, even, like, they're down to their food is, like, not even just hot in the sense of, like, it's actually hot food, but it is very spicy food. It is extremely spicy food. And that's just, like, a funny little thing I kind of put in there. Now, I'm not saying that they don't eat anything outside of that. They also do have some sweet stuff that they eat as well, and, like, normal spice, but it's just, like, most of the big traditional, like, big foods that they're really known for is very spicy, and not a lot of people can eat it. And I'm still teetering on the idea of either Fira fighting with Art in order to try and join the group, or Art has to try and eat very spicy food and keep it down, and maybe Fira will join. And the reason I'm teetering on both sides of that is because both of them can be ending up in a very interesting thing. But for Fira in particular, I feel like she would go more with the, if you can beat me, then maybe I'll join you kind of thing. Because she is a warrior. So the main key thing about Fira is that she is a warrior. She's a fighter. She's a battler. She has seen some things of the war that is currently going on within the comic that'll be discussed within the first chapter. And I will actually be throwing you guys, thrusting you into it, like the good old champ I am, just straight up thrusting you into the into the war. Yeah, that was totally not what I meant to say. Apparently I can't say thrusting either with this male model, or else it seems weird. But at the end of the day, I'm trying to say that, you know, there's a war, there's a battle going on, and of course, it would make sense for Fira to be more of conscientious about why certain people are coming around here and I guess doing whatever they are doing, and just kind of basically, actually this is very going to be happening a lot in the comic, where a lot of people kind of just want him to leave, because there is a sort of thing that is going to be happening, and I can't reveal everything because it would reveal a lot of the plot, because there's a lot of things I have talked about that won't make sense until you really start reading it and putting the puzzle pieces together. And I give you guys a big spoiler in the prologue, but I do that on purpose, because at the end of the day, I'm a person that likes to know some secrets, but at the end of the day, I'm not gonna reveal to you, like, everything that gets them to the point that they're getting to. Like, I can keep telling you every day about, like, all this stuff, and then it's just like, yeah, but you're still gonna have to figure out how that happened. I'm not gonna tell you that. I'll just tell you, yeah, this happened. Like, I tell you Fira is with a partner, but I'll never tell you how they got together, because that's something I want to save for in writing the comic itself. Because then you can see, like, through my writing how these people got together. Because one thing I am pretty good about when it comes to writing is writing character, like, connections. I'm very good at that. I wouldn't say I'm the best. There's probably other people that are way, way better than me.
Since in that kind of frog, I will drop a spoiler right now. George kisses everyone.
Yeah, totally. You want to George? You're gonna see George kiss everybody in the comic, and then George's gonna make it so weird. No, but actually, I will say, sadly, George actually doesn't appear much in the comic until near the end. Or at least, the George that you see right now, this version of George, doesn't really get shown until very much later on in the comic.
Damn right, I will make it weird.
Damn right you will, George. I wouldn't expect it any other way, George. If it's not weird, what are you doing? I know this is a little weird on the shoe, but we're gonna fix that later. But yeah. Trying to like inlay a lot of stuff here. I'm trying to like do a lot of stuff. So Fira is of course going to have a lot of very beautiful, intricate armor, as well as just very much having a lot of jewelry on her as well. And yes, I'm going to make it shiny and all pretty, so don't worry about that. But you know what the one cool thing about making a comic is? At the end of the day, I will say this much. Comparing all the cast of characters, and when I actually finally do all the coloring on these, you'll be able to see a lot of their designs and probably character, like, come through a little bit. But one thing that I really wanted to do was make them all have a variety of skin tones, because at the end of the day, like, I want to show in my comic, oh my gosh, really, an ad break is going to start soon. I want to show one thing in my comic, and that is that, anybody and anyone can be in a fantasy world and, can be a badass. And, yeah.
It's the moment when you get to assemble your Avenger team.
Oh my, yeah, I'm gonna be honest here. Yes. Very, very much assembling the team here with the Avenger team here. We'll agree on that. But I've kind of liked that it's a adventuring-ish kind of team. I will say for the most part, the first half of the story is going to be very, very much a journey story, and the later half of it is going to be a very much more battle and politics. And the reason I'm doing the politics is because most of these communities of all of the Telvins on this planet sometimes just do not see eye to eye, because different communities have different sorts of things, right? At the end of the day, they all have the same common enemy, but none of them can agree on how to fight it. And it's like an idiotic political situation. And, you know, it's just, if you're like, oh, why are you even doing that? Like, we shouldn't even have, like, a conversation about, like, politics and all that sort of situation. It's like, no, I want to show you a little bit of, like, the politics of this world, because, like, there's gonna, There's gonna just be some people that won't agree on certain things. Like, even though that they're all trying to fight one common enemy, they still can't even fight that correctly, you know? It's a whole entire problem. Like, this is why the situation has persisted so long. Because bear in mind, this war, when I talk about it in the comic, this war, this battle that has been going on in the comic, it's about 1,000 years of a war. It's a really long time. And just bear in mind that most people live like 200 years-ish. So even still, 1,000 years is a really long time to be fighting in this war. And they didn't even know there was a war or a battle going on until like really recently. So there's been a war for over 1,000 years, but they didn't really start fighting it or realizing that it was happening until about 500 years ago. So that means like halfway through it. So it leads to a lot of interesting conflicts and even some character conflicts, because there are some characters that are from the enemy side that have turned good, and trying to figure out how the cast is going to deal with that, because there's some members that have been fighting on the front lines and now it's like suddenly these people are apparently on our side and have always been? Like, what? So you're dealing with a lot of confusion and a lot of conflicts that can come of it. And conflict in the sense of character conflict, not conflict in that of people fighting with each other. And conflict can even be a self thing, like fighting with yourself. And it also doesn't even have to be fighting. It can just be a disagreement about what to eat. That can be conflict. Conflict can even be like what your dress is wearing. Like, you know, conflict doesn't have to be an action thing. Conflict can be anything. I know you're just coming back from the ads. Conflict can be anything. So when you're writing a story, just know that conflict and climbing to a climax, that climax doesn't have to be something that is, that climax doesn't have to be something that is an action. It can be something that just happens. That's what my climax is. It's something that happens. And as much as, like, you know, the something that happens is an action, what I'm saying is, like, most people end up in, like, a fight or a brutal thing that ends up happening, and that's the climax. That's the height of it. Some people do a climax through a big revelation that now everybody knows that revelation. And that's kind of what mine is like, this is what everything has been building towards, and this is what it is. And I will tell you this much, because it's in the prologue. Do not discount the prologue when you read the comic. Do not throw it away. It's there for a reason. When I make something, if it's a flashback or a story or a tale or a legend, and it's just kind of put in there, it means something. Don't just discount it. And the prologue in itself probably makes no sense to the rest of the comic, because you'll get the prologue and then you'll be reading chapter 1, you're like, huh, this doesn't like even really align very much. Don't worry, it'll be answered later. Everything will be answered in time. And the most of how I write is I like to keep you on your toes. And that's kind of how writing should be. It's more of like, you read it, but you don't get everything answered. And so you have to read the next chapter in order to figure out how that gets answered. And that's what I base my stuff on. That's the kind of writing style I do. And you'll see more of like how I am as a writer. And the other thing is like, you know, I've rewritten a lot of this stuff over and over again. And right now I'm basically going through a revision process of what I've already written, just to make sure that everything is in line. And then we'll be moving on from there. But for the next chapter, I am going to be like writing out stuff and like having a whole thing. And yeah. Oh, where is my... There it is. I was gonna say, wait, where is my little thing? Anyways, I think we're done sketching out Fira here, which is good. I am not gonna do her other sword, because she actually has 2 swords that she uses. But Fira, her ability, or like her way of how she uses her fire, she uses it kind of in 2-ish ways. So if you have, okay, if you guys know D&D, and you know heat metal, right? Fira will heat up the metal if it's on other people. So the thing is that for most of the enemy, like when they're in this war, by the way, the enemies are called the Blightons. You'll hear that in chapter 1 of what they are and what they look like. The Blightons used to have a bunch of unique metal that they would wear, but it was metal. It was still metal because it was from this planet. It was from this world. So Fira would be going around and literally being so hot that she would literally heat up the metal and cook Blightons alive on the battlefield. They had to literally get rid of metal or have very minimal amount of metal because of her. So when you look at Blightons and how they look, and you would think like, oh, this is supposed to be a very military or like military-ish race, but they barely have any metal on them, you can blame Fira for that. Which is, again, it's like a little interesting thing of like, this character literally affected so many things to go on, right? And we're gonna see that. That's another thing that I like to do is like, how do these characters and what they do affect the world? And that's also another thing in writing that you should probably also be looking into. There's a bunch of ways and things that people have gone over with writing in particular. And when you're definitely doing a fantasy world, you really need to think about your characters. You need to think about how they affect the world. How does the world affect them? How does their community affect them? Why would they be making the decisions that they are because of their community? And also going even down into like what they're wearing, right? Like Fira, the reason that she wears what she wears is because she's a warrior. So she wears a lot of metal, but she also wears a lot of jewelry because she's married. So her earrings have a specific meaning. Her necklace is like a family thing. And then of course she has her weapons here. So there is that. And you'd be like, huh, now she is supposed to be a warrior and have all this metal. Why is she showing her midriff? It's to be basically like, I know I can protect myself well enough that I don't need armor here. Because she is kind of a bad bitch that she will step on you. I will say very much, Fira is very much a mommy and I would let her step on me. Honestly, Fira is probably a favorite character of mine, alongside that of Luthador as well, is a favorite character of mine that I just love to draw him. He's so flamboyant that I love it. And Fira is just so unique. So yeah. Speaking about Luthador, maybe we'll actually color him. So basically I have a file where it's all the sketches, and then I'm separating up the files because I want to do recordings of all of the stuff. And you know, in Clip Studio you can do recordings of your stuff. So we're gonna just go over to Luthador's display. And yeah. So, I've been playing around with this idea a little bit, but just so you know, this display card of Luthador is his later version. So this is like at the end of the story, and most of these display cards are kind of mainly at the end-ish. So they're not going to be how they look when you first meet them. But I would say most of them will look pretty similar to how they currently look. But Luthador, how he looks now, isn't how he's going to look in the comic. The reason I just am doing him like this is because I've shown him mostly with his end form. I might have another one that I will do of him within the comic. Because his broken horn that he actually does have that intact in the comic. He loses that later on. And his wings, he doesn't have them. He gets them later. He gets them back later. So he does have them, but he loses them and then he gets them back later. So when we first see him, he will not look like this. Also, his hair, his red hair that's in a tie, will not be tied because he's married in this. So he will not have that as well. So there are certain character things that will not be here when you look at the comic. So if you're going, and especially considering that he's going to be coming out in the first chapter, just know when you see him in the first chapter compared to how I draw him in the art, that is later Luthador, not current Luthador, within the comic. So just want to put that little thing out there for how I draw him. I like drawing him in his later form because it's cooler, and also because I can draw all the fan art I want with him and Luthador, with him and his husband. So, yeah. Let me enjoy what I want. I've drawn so much art of them at this point. I'm just like, wow, there's more art of them together than I have of Jose and I together. That's why I'm like, I'm gonna draw Jose and I more in the next one. There is a Luthador piece I am working on to kind of highlight a little bit of his backstory a little bit. I don't know when I'll finish it, but I'll get it done sometime. But it's something in the back of my mind that I thought about it, and I was like, I need to kind of arrange this. It was like 9 o'clock at night, and I was like, I need to sketch this right now. And I had a fever, and like, I need to sketch this. So I kind of like put it together, but I haven't like fully sketched it. But anyways, without any further ado, let me start the time-lapse recording on this. Record time-lapse. So that recording of the time-lapse will just be for, you know, because I kind of want to post up some, on like TikTok and YouTube shorts of just me working on this. And the great thing is because it can do a time-lapse in here, I can literally take this and literally like put it into CapCut and all that.
I think it's time that we end episode 1 of The Legend of Josie.
Yes, please. I'm just going in here and just kind of like rendering this a little bit, or giving like a second pass to it. I'll kind of talk about Luthador and his culture in a bit as well. Because Luthador is quite an interesting character as well. And especially like why his clothes look this particular way. Because they're not exactly his culture. No, or not exactly the same as most people wear, but I'll tell you why that is in a bit. Again, this is only stuff that is going to come out in the first chapter anyways, so you guys will be seeing it when it comes out in June. But I will say he is quite a flamboyant character.
Artican, so the king is not your father? Joazi took a second to compose himself before answering. No, the king was not my father, but there is no current king. He died before the succession took place, which has strained the kingdom. John suddenly spoke after trying so hard to not interrupt. So the puppet is to keep up appearances, or is it to protect yourself? Joazi replied both. They reached their destination, a treasure, the promise to John to help find what she seeks. Joazi watched as the girls looked over the gold and jewels. Joazi helped Artican try on some jewels and let her have the hand mirror. John searched the vault until her eyes focused on one thing. Inside a glass case was a little flat rectangle. Suddenly the plot convenient amnesia faded as she approached, carefully opening the case and taking the card. John, with a raised voice, we are all in danger, running to the balcony that overlooked the yard. The Mackinac Reed approaches.
Ooh. Ooh. Oh, hold on. And that is the end to The Legend of Jose. Oh my goodness. Well, now I gotta post up the rest of them. Well, I gotta edit them, and then I gotta post the rest of them up.
The credits roll on episode 1.
Hooray. Alright. Now it's time to talk about Luthador a little bit. Hooray! So this is gonna be within, like, the first few chapters anyways. So let's just say Luthador always and shall ever be my affectionate, I don't even know if I could say it on stream. Let's just say he is very, if you know how Astarion acts went in early on in Baldur's Gate, and he's just like, oh, well, I just wanted, I had such a perfect plan. It was just to, like, basically make sure that you fall in love with me. And my plan really wasn't for me to fall in love with you, right? So Luthador is very much similar to that, though, he does it more of to put up walls. He's just a weird character unto itself, and we'll be seeing that more, but he is always very flamboyant and everything, but he is from a time long since past, because when he awakens in the world, it has been 6,000 years since he was actually alive. So, or like living. So that's why his outfit will kind of be very interesting in a way, because the outfit he currently has is more representational of a more long ago past. Not to say that people don't wear something very similar, or like his people wear something currently very similar to what he is wearing. But he does show a little bit more skin than most of them would probably like. He also comes from a place where women are more in charge than men are. Actually, most of the communities are like that because of their beliefs and history and stories and all of that sort of stuff. So it's very interesting.
Oh darling, that outfit is so 6,000 years ago. Let's get you up to date.
Actually, you know what the funny thing is? Luthador actually shits on Art's outfit. And he's like, what the heck are you wearing? Like, wow, I haven't seen like a Kiesh wear that. That's like really out of the box. Like, you must be head of fashion here. And she just goes, no, this is actually old. And he's like, what? So there's interesting like little conflicts that can like, you know, little things like that. It's just like we're slowly but surely, though I will say this much, they kind of break it to Luthador very quickly that he's from 6,000 years ago, and they're like, we're not gonna sugarcoat this. You are from a long time ago. And he kind of now just has to deal with that, which at the same moment and some people might be like, that's terrible writing. And it's like, well, how else are you supposed to tell somebody that they are literally, like, what? Are you supposed to, like, just not tell them? That seems like more disingenuous to me. So they just kind of like sit him down and be like, okay, so the thing is, you said that you were this, right? Well, we have a story and legend of that, but that story and legend is from 6,000 years ago. It could possibly be that you've been locked away in this thing for 6,000 years.
I will call up my buddy Pug. That little dog is peak fashion.
Yeah. So, in turn, you have a very interesting conflict that arrives. And most of the family, because it's going to be Art and her family, just basically kind of go, well, what do we, you know, what can we, like, do? Like, can we do anything to help him? And Art's mom and dad literally just say, like, there's nothing that we can do besides he needs a moment, and he will never accept it, but he'll have to eventually. And that's kind of what they say, is like, it's something that, you know, just imagine waking up and everybody that you knew is gone. I will say this much, Luthador, the reason that he's mainly broken up about it is because he does have very dark thoughts early on. He is a character that wears a smile without actually smiling. He deals a lot with he did a lot of terrible things in his past, and that'll be talked about as well. But he just feels like, you know, he basically is just like, I did a lot of terrible things. I should pay for it. I shouldn't be here anymore. And I don't think that I deserve a second chance to anything. Even though that the reason that he was even pushed into doing most of the things that he did was because of the community that was around him. Literally, the community made him into a monster that he became. And there is a little bit of talks in the story later on that will be between certain characters of them literally saying, look, those people are gone, and you can kind of move on and maybe, you know, be able to reconnect with your community. And there is going to be a moment where Luthador ends up back down in the caverns. So his people are mainly from underground. That's why he has a very interesting complexion compared to everybody else. Because he they live underground. They live in the dark, cavernous areas, never coming out to see sunlight. Now you might be like, oh, well then Goliath and Luthador's people must be very similar. Now the thing is, Goliaths actually do live outside of the mines. So they have the mines, that's like their main place of work, but they do live outside of it. They have homes and stuff like that outside. So they do leave the place. Some of them stay in there, some of them live outside, so it just depends. But that's why they look different, because they're not exactly the same. And the other thing is, like, they live in the mountains, which is high up, and these people live underground, deep underground. So that's why they're called the caverns. Some people call them the cavern dwellers, but they're actually called Skiesh, but I guess Skiesh technically would mean cavern dweller. Because Kiesh means dweller. Or to dwell. Like to dwell someplace. So, also, basically the language of the world is very much, again, in a different language, and it's basically being translated into English. So there are some words, like creatures and stuff, that will be like written like with a little asterisk saying like, it looks kind of like this, and just kind of referencing what it looks like. Because there's, in the underground, there is a particular creature / insect-ish creature that kind of looks like a giant centipede. And when I mean giant, I mean massive. Like, this thing is huge. And they crawl up to the surface and eventually cocoon themselves and become like moths or butterflies of some sort. Which is also kind of interesting if you think about it. So and Luthador is kind of referencing to those creatures in particular, with his wings and how he has them. So yeah, there is also a little bit of discrepancies between how I used to draw Luthador and him currently, which some people might notice, which is he now has more insect-like wings than him having fluffy wings than before. And that's just because I changed who his father was, and because his father is now more of insectic based, I was like, well, I still want Luthador to have wings. I was like, well, insects can't have wings, so that ended up being the character difference. That ended up kind of happening. There's like a few other things as well that I have changed up with his design. But for the most part, he's still pretty much as flamboyancy as possible. But anyways, referencing back to the creatures, these giant, massive creatures in the underground, people think that these creatures, like, kind of, when they die, they leave behind this fluffy giant cocoon, which they don't realize is a cocoon. They think it's their corpse, which is kind of saddening. But they take it and they make their clothes out of it. So that's why it's like most of their stuff is very much soft and all that. But they do sometimes embed a lot of shells, and I think like the best way is there was a time in the colonial era where people would take the shells and wings of certain insects and attach them to dresses. This is still done, by the way, in certain places. Basically, most of them do that as well, because a lot of the underground has a lot more insect-like creatures that they hunt and capture and eat. So I will say, for most people or most surface dwellers, they kind of view their food as a little bit intimidating because it's basically giant insects. And you might be like, oh, well, if Luthador is kind of part of an insect, isn't that a little bit cannibalistic? I'm like, well, aren't insects already cannibalistic as it is? So, if anything, it kind of makes sense. So yeah. But this also kind of gets Luthador, in a way, the moniker of being a little bit of a monstrous kind of creature. Because he has these big freaking wings, this weird mark tattoo on his face, and these weird freckle things, which most people in the underground do not have freckles. So he just looks genuinely weird, at least compared to how mostly everybody else looks. So he kind of gets the moniker of being called a little bit of a strange, creaturous monster, which he is definitely not. He is just a sweet child boy that just, I don't know. So there is going to be a lot of talk of Luthador's past, but that will come in later installments of the comic. But for the most part, he did have a good-ish childhood, thanks to his mother, but, you know, she kind of ended up dying, and he didn't really have anybody else, and let's just say a lot of bad stuff happened, and he had to leave the underground and go up to the surface, where he eventually got his other moniker that he got known for, which he became kind of known as the kind of, quote, demonic king. I might be changing the name on it a little bit to being different, so instead he's gonna be called, like, something else, right? I don't know what exactly, but he's gonna be referenced to be a kind of bad-ish sort of person back in the day. You know, going with the idea that, well, if everyone calls me a monster, I might as well be one. Now, you might be wondering why the heck there is a bunch of strings around him. Luthador has the strange ability to be able to see the threads of everybody's fate. Or at least the connections between everybody? Or is it the fate? Honestly, he doesn't know and he doesn't care anymore. He basically can see all of different connections between people, and he can also manipulate that. He can literally legitimately pull at your strings. So he can basically manipulate people into what he wants to do. However, he doesn't really do that, and the reason being is because he kind of thinks that's a little bit too much to use his ability and power, and that's a little too OP to use. The other thing is that it kind of does damage him in a little bit to do it, and the reason being is because it's like, if he just was allowed to do it, like, he would be even worse. But he does have morals, and those morals do outweigh him trying to actually manipulate somebody. And the other thing is that in order to manipulate somebody in that sort of way, you have to give up a little piece of your own humanity, or like your own telvanity, I guess. You basically have to give away a piece of yourself in order to be able to manipulate somebody. So you could slowly go insane because of it. And Luthador realized this because he did manipulate somebody, but he forgot his mother's face. And he just felt like that, because he did that, he forgot his mom's face, so he was like, never again. I'm never doing that again. So he literally loses pieces of his memory and himself. So for the most part, what he mainly does is just kind of uses these strings, or like is able to also create strings himself from like magical material, and is able to kind of whip it around and grab people and manipulate them as like little puppets. So he can basically make other people fight for him by manipulating them with his strings, or by actually grabbing your string of like different, like, you know, because you basically have a string of, so there's different strings. So there's a string of life that he can literally grab on. He cannot cut it. That's the main thing. He can't cut it. He cannot do anything with it, but he can pull you, and it can hurt. Because you're basically pulling on somebody's string of life, which can hurt them. It's almost like you're getting a heart attack, basically. So he can pull that. He can't cut it. It can only hurt. Or he can pull, like, at a string to like make you move, or like, you know, where you're going to be moving next. So the idea of future kind of string, you can like grab that and like move you. So yeah, just play guitar. Yeah, I know, he's literally just playing a guitar, right? But he can move and manipulate people. So that's kind of terrible. But again, there are some limitations to what he can and can't do. He can't just like go over to a person and literally just pull out their string of life. He can't do that. It's impossible. He's tried it once. Didn't work. It just hurt the person. But I mean, the person did almost ask to be, you know, gotten rid of because of how much it hurt. There is a few other things as well, but he can also see many strings. So like he can see like the string of friendship. And you might be like, well, if he can see the string of fate, does that mean that he can see the red string of fate? So the difference between a regular string of fate just means like people that are connected to each other because of certain circumstances or things that might happen in future. So like a friendship connection or a romantic connection. But red strings of fate, like actually connecting like soulmates together, Luthador even calls out, is actually extremely rare. Because most of the time people have to build that. So you don't see it immediately. It creates itself. So you're not born with a red string of fate. You build it. For Luthador in particular, no one is born with it. He just sees that people build it. And sometimes he sees it even dissolve and go away. Not like a person cut it, but more of like it just dissolves between the two. And that's just because, sometimes things happen, right? So the red string of fate theory does still apply here. It's just like it's different. And Luthador has never seen it. He's never built anything like that. So love is Lego for 2. Yes. I mean, love is like Legos, you have to build it together. You have to communicate. You have to be able to read sometimes you have to read the instructions a little bit. And then sometimes you have to go back to the instructions because you guys started fighting again. So about what to put where. So yeah, it's very much like that. I will tell you this much. Luthador does begin to see a red string of fate. And he wants to cut it so badly. We're going to be talking about that more. But the thing is, he cannot cut any of these strings. That's the thing. That's the one thing he can't do. The only thing he can do is observe it and possibly manipulate it into going on a different path if he believes that it is a dangerous path. That is all he can do with the strings. He can see it. He can grab them, he can move them around and manipulate them, but he cannot cut them. That is just one thing he can't do. And it's funny because eventually later down the line, because all of these people do end up becoming gods, Luthador becomes the god of connections. And technically at that point, he is able to break them, like break connections between people, but he decides not to do that. He makes it his own moral code to never do that unless absolutely necessary. Also, even still, while he is the god of connections, he cannot cut the string of life because there is a god of death for that. That is their thing to do. They cannot do that. Luthador cannot do that. Does this mean the Reaper has scissors instead of a scythe? Technically, scissors don't really exist in this world. He basically has like a dagger to do it. So he has like a particular thing to cut the strings with. But his other main weapon is an axe. So the god of death actually has an axe that is his main weapon. The reason it's an axe, which is need to put into perspective of how the world works. So in the lore of the world, everybody's soul was once a star that inhabits a physical body. And because it is a star that inhabits a physical body, in order for that star to return back to the sky when you've gone, you have to burn the body. So the reason that the death god has an axe as their main weapon and as a main symbol of them is because you would need to chop down firewood in order to burn the body. So that is why the god of death has an axe as their main weapon instead of a scythe or scissors. I chose an axe because it makes sense for that of the funeral arrangements. Because not only are they the god of death, but they are also the god of funerals. So they have to arrange that sort of thing. And they're also a firewood seller. So most of the time, if you see a firewood seller, remember to give them a little bit, be nice to them, be courteous to them, or you might end up dead. Because you don't know if that firewood salesman is the god of death. So that is also another little thing. Because there are gods that do interact with that of the mortal world. It's just they don't really make themselves known. So it's just like, just be nice and don't be mean kind of situation as well. So it's kind of also teaching children to be nice and kind to people. Because you never know who they could be. But also be a little hesitant of who they are as well, because you don't know who they are. I imagine a horrifying executor chasing people. No, he's not like that. He's not a person that, he used to be. I will say he used to be. He used to also be a war god as well. But that's now changed. He doesn't do that anymore. Instead, he's just like, yeah. But it's more of, he is very much more of a reserved god. He doesn't talk to anybody. He's very much kind of just off by himself. Now, the other thing is that the god of death in particular, is just more of a variation of death itself. So there is death, and then there's gods of death that are basically just like pieces of death itself that are just on different planets or different parts of the world, right? So the funny and interesting thing is later on in the comic, it's gonna be a very interesting conversation of some things. You should see Death from Supernatural. I don't want to watch Supernatural. I don't want to see Death in Supernatural. I feel like I'd have another hyper-fixation, and I'm already with Morris. A bored dude who just like pizza? Oh my god. You know what? With a knife. Bro! He eats pizza with knife and fork, bro. I'm with him on that. I do too. Some pizzas are way too greasy. I gotta eat it with a knife and fork. Just super elegant. Nah, the god of death is just kind of like, he just keeps to himself. And that's how most of his variations are as well, is they keep very much to themselves. Sometimes there's certain situations that can drive them into a little bit of insanity, but usually the god of death reels them back in. And that's very common for many overarching ideas to have variants of themselves on different planets. It is also canon that there are other planets, and there is an acknowledgement that there is life on other worlds and other gods. Far beyond that of the planet. It's just like this current planet that we're talking about is only the Telvin planet. So that's where all the lore takes place. But there is an underlying idea that there are other planets elsewhere. So which is, again, very, very interesting plot that I just kind of threw in there for fun shits and giggles. Now, you might be like, oh, so this is a science fiction story. And I'm like, no. It's a fantasy story that has an understanding that there are other planets outside of it. They just don't have space travel. And actually, most Telvins wish to never do space travel. And if they do, it's like very much later on down the line that they would ever be able to accomplish that. And the reason being is because they're very, very much like to the world, to the connection of the world and their magic. So if they leave, they could have a disconnect between their magic and their world. So it would be like a disconnection from the world itself. So yeah. Interesting topics to talk about. Anyways, let me go over to here. There we go. But yeah. So again, lots of thought has gone into this comic, even more than you could ever assume it to be. And the reason being is just because I like making things complicated for myself. So that's mainly why we have such a complicated stuff. I'm just imagining the conversation about life and other worlds and a zoom out to a spooky space switch. I will say this much. It's not a spooky space witch. No. Most of the gods and everything like that is mostly like out in the universe is like celestial-ish gods. Along with the overarching gods. The overarching gods are more like, I would say, like, if you guys have ever watched Sandman, and you know how like they have like dream and death and desire and all this sort of stuff, right? So those are like the main overarching ones, which are all created from two main gods, which is in the prologue. Order and chaos are the two main overarching gods, and the only thing that's above them is the void itself. And like, remember the family tree that I drew up? That was crazy. That was a crazy family tree. Also, by the way, I actually do need to take a little bit of a break. I want to get up and walk around, so I'm going to play a 3-minute ad, considering the ads are going to be playing anyways. So I'm just going to play an ad for you guys, and I will be right back. And we are back to a regularly scheduled program. Me. But anyways, let's continue on with drawing Luthador here. I completely forgot what I was talking about, so we're going to talk about something else. Hooray! So. Actually, you know what? I'm going to talk about something that is very definitely something that kind of needs to be discussed a little bit, and that is, I am a little concerned in a way of how this comic, when it comes out, is going to be, well, I wouldn't say perceived. I would rather say, I do worry if anybody will read it. Because I am not posting it on a platform that is known for, like, being a place to post up your comic. I just know that it is just not a place for it. But I don't have really anywhere else to post it that isn't trying to forcibly take my art or forcibly try and get my IP or forcing me to sign a document to say I will relinquish rights to it if it gets really popular. I'm looking at you, Webtoon. And the other thing is that I don't want to put a paywall behind my stuff. I just don't want that. Now, the other thing is that I could, if I wanted to, self-publish my comic and be able to make money from it. But at the end of the day, I kind of don't want to do that, and I want it to be free and available for people to enjoy. And the other thing is too, is if later down the line I do get the chance with a company or publishing company to post up, to make my work into an actual comic, like an actual graphic novel that you can be able to purchase and physically have, then yeah, you know, I will look into possibly doing that. But right now, I don't have that in my cards. I'm not a person that has the money, the means, or the ability to do that. I wish I did. Things could be so much more interesting with that. But I just don't have the means or the ability to do that at my disposal. But I do hope that even though I'm not posting it on a traditional site, or even on my own website, like most people do encourage you to do if you do not want to post onto Webtoon or anything like that. Well, the other thing is too, is that most of the times with like freer ways to make the platform available, I don't know if I can be able to do it right or do it justice. So what I am going to be doing instead is basically kind of post up a way to be able to view all of the chapters through that of Ko-Fi. And the great thing with Ko-Fi is, one, you can see the stuff, and the thing is that if you pay or like donate or do the memberships, you'll be able to access all the other cool art right from there. Like, it's all located in one place. So you don't have to go to a bunch of different places in order to get to see more stuff. It's all right there for you to view and to have. So there is that. And what I'm working on right now with these display things is eventually maybe I might turn these into acrylic stands, perhaps. That's when I have the money to be able to turn them into acrylic stands that I can sell to you guys. But for the most part, these will probably be more of like for actual clothes and attire, and those will be on a different site. But at the same time, it's just like, my thing is being on Ko-Fi, I want it to make it available to you all. And the other great thing is that with Ko-Fi in particular, it will alert you to when I post up something. Like, you'll get an alert in your email for it, right? That I have posted something up, because you'll be following me. And the other thing is that you can be able to follow me on there. You can be able to support me on there. You can be able to shop for stuff on there. And maybe later down the line, I might actually put stuff up there that you guys can buy, like maybe wallpapers of the characters. You know, and most of the stuff, if it's a digital download that you can have, probably will only be like $1 or $2. So I'm not even gonna make it expensive for you guys. And the other thing is that maybe for those that are part of the membership, they might get exclusive shop things, or might be able to see more exclusive items. Or not items, but like exclusive like art and stuff like that of certain characters that eventually later down the line I'll post up. So like, they would get access to it early, and then everyone else would be able to see it later. Because I still want to make it free and available for people. It's just, if you want to, you can be able to support me and be able to see more in-depth stuff. And maybe even be able to have more one-on-one conversations about the lore, the story, and, you know, I guess seeing more interesting things. Especially if I do, like, you know, drawing certain 18 plus art stuff of some of the characters, because most of these characters are over the age of 18. And I say that, and I know some people are gonna be like, but Veryl doesn't look like they're over the age of 18. Veryl is just a gremlin little shit, okay? That's what Veryl is. And I tried to make them still look adultish. They're just small. Actually, for some reason, they are still a little bit taller than Art, so... I don't know how that happened when I was doing the character lineup, but they are. I will say one thing, all these character models that I have, all of them, I spent time with these 3D models to be able to create all the characters. You know, their body types, to make sure that the body types are specific to each person. And to also still go into a variety of different body types. Because people are different. Everybody's different. But anyways, back to my kind of fears. I will say, as an artist, like, you know, you're always gonna be worried about, like, people looking at your stuff and wondering if you're going to get seen at all, right? That's why, like, right now I'm doing these little things of basically having all of, I'm doing a thing of literally, having a, I'm trying to remember what it's called, a time lapse right now, so I can take this and make some specific content for it for YouTube Shorts and all of that. And maybe also just a bigger time lapse of all of the characters being drawn together alongside that of, like, early concept sketches and all of that sort of stuff. Just to kind of, I don't know why I'm drawing that, that's weird. Just to kind of, like, I guess, pull more interest into it. But, yeah. Jail, excuse me. Excuse me. But I am, like, a little worried and concerned in a way that people will not be interested in it. And that's just a fear. I'm just so scared of drawing this. And then I'm, like, the only one that's apparently reading it. But I'm the only one that cares. And it's just such a big, giant fear. Because at the end of the day, will people like my art style enough to stick around? Will people hate that I'm very infrequent with being able to post it up? Or will people stay around to actually wait for the next chapters to come out? I'm just so worried about that. And I'm not fast. I'm the only person drawing my comic. I'm the only person that's doing this. This project. So I just worry a lot about if I will have the ability to have people that will be interested in my comic. And I'm not the only person that probably goes through this. There's probably many people that post onto Webtoon or wherever that have that fear of people won't be interested in it. And I feel that fear extremely because I don't know, because I'm not posting it on a platform that people would be interested in, right? I'm posting it on Ko-Fi, which isn't even a platform for webcomics, but that's all that I have at my ability and my disposal right now. And maybe later down the line, I can be able to actually pay for a domain so I can be able to have my own portfolio, not only my portfolio for my art, but even just that as a place to be able to put things. And maybe even eventually, if I get my own shop and stuff, I would put it up on there as well. But for right now, it's like, this is what I have. And again, it's just me. I'm a single person. I can't do everything. I don't have a manager or anybody to help me with everything. So at the end of the day, this is kind of just like the situation that I deal with on a constant basis. And even I was telling like Jose a little bit of my fears of it. It's just like, what if everyone like reads this stuff and then they just don't care about it and never come back again? And you know what? There's gonna be people that do that. But my fear is like, nobody cares except me. And it's like, I'm doing all this work and all this art to try and make it cool and make it fun and enjoyable for everybody. And then it's like, oh, we like the art of these characters, but we don't really care about the story. And it's like, cool, you like the art, but it's like, here's the story of all of these characters so that you can have fun and enjoy them. And I've even been thinking about, like, on TikTok and even YouTube Shorts to be, like, posting up, little skits and stuff of all the characters, because then, you know, then people start to get introduced to them, right? But the other problem and situation that I deal with is just, yeah, but then people will only be watching that TikTok content and may not even really move into watching or reading where the comic and the place that they actually come from. So that's why instead I'm just trying to do this, you know, time-lapse video instead, where I'm basically just talking about the characters and where they come from and who they are, and basically doing little character introductions. Oh. Wrong thing. I double click G and still sometimes it doesn't work. So, but again, it's just a fear that I'm just gonna have to deal with. And at the end of the day, like, there are you guys that are watching the stream, and I know that people that watch the stream, the more that I talk about it and say like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be working on my lore stuff today for the comic that I'm making, like, I know that's gonna get people interested in it, because, like, there's another wonderful VTuber that I follow who is making a book, and she literally talks about it all the time on her stream, and she makes art for it live on stream as well, to just kind of show it off a little bit, to get people interested in it and constantly remind people of it. So that's what I'm starting to do, and especially, like, with doing these character designs and discussing them more, I hope that I can be able to, like, remind people constantly that the comic is coming out soon, so that then people can go, oh yeah, I should probably take a look at it. I should probably go and do that. And I will say this much, whenever a new chapter drops, I'm probably going to drop it on a day that I will be streaming, so that then I can literally say, hey, a new chapter came out for the comic. I know it's gonna be pretty much like a, you know, in your faces kind of thing, but it's just like, hey guys. And I might even change the Ko-Fi stream bot to say other things besides visit this for the Ko-Fi page, instead of visit the Ko-Fi page for updates on the Art of Chaos comic, you know, like, to change it up, so then people be like, oh, okay, we'll go and check that out. So yeah. Also, I'm gonna remove my jail. I feel like I don't need to be jailed anymore. I feel like anybody that just sees this screen is just gonna be like, what the hell is going on here? But yeah, so those are my little fears of the world. And again, I know, like, you know, some people might be like, oh, well, you know, don't worry about it. And it's just like, I take a deep breath and hold it and try and just be like, it'll be okay. There'll be people that will like it, and that's all I can do right now. Because I know for a fact that no matter what, you know, there's gonna be stuff. I will say this much, I tried to look into it and I was like, oh wait, can people put comments? Yes, you can put comments on it. And I'm like, okay, good. So people can, like, literally put comments in here, and I can reply to comments, and you can like it and you can share it and all of that sort of stuff. And I was like, hey, that's one thing I was worried about. I was like, can you actually? I will say this much, for the most part of what I'm deciding to do of how to lay it out, is that I will put a chapter cover, so that then when you're scrolling through, you can know which chapter is which. It'll be like a giant thing that literally says what the chapter is and what it is. By the way, the prologue actually has a name. It's called The Brothers. So it'll be in big bold letters, prologue, The Brothers. And then it will show like a cool little art picture as well, of the chapter, you know, something either from the chapter or, you know, like its own little art piece unto itself. So basically every chapter will have a cover art for that chapter, kind of like in mangas. You know how in mangas, and some mangas when you're reading it, it'll have like a cover art of a particular, for the next chapter. We're kind of basically going to be doing that for each of the chapters, just so that on Ko-Fi, it's a little bit easier for you to recognize when it's the next chapter. Because, you know, with webtoons and stuff like that, they have it all separated out, and then you scroll down, and then eventually you scroll up. Also, I did double check on my phone how well it is to be seen. You can see it really well. That's the good thing. It can be scrolled through comic, which I was a little concerned about, that it wouldn't be read that way. I will say this much. I was looking at how the text is going to be when you're reading it on your computer compared to on your phone. I will be increasing the text a little bit because it is a little bit hard to read on the computer if you're viewing it from a distance. Because I was like, well, let's say that some people like look at their monitors from a distance. Like, is this still able to be read? If you're looking at it pretty close, like within a foot of yourself, you can read it pretty well. But I'm a person that has glasses and can't see very well, so I'm actually probably the best person to be literally looking at to check on whether or not the text is readable. And I also have dyslexia, so yay! It's nice being a dyslexic writer. I will be also double checking with having some people read through the comic early, just to be like, is there any spelling mistakes? Or does this make sense? Because sometimes when I write something, it's hard for me to recognize if it's good or not. So I have to have somebody else read through it that hasn't read it at all in order to say, yeah, this is good. Or like, this doesn't make sense. I don't know what you're saying here. And I'm going to try and not make readers, like people that read my, like that, or I'm not going to try and make people that are writers read my stuff. I want like just readers to read my stuff a little bit, just so that people can double check my work. But also they get to see all that cool art stuff early, so that's the other cool thing. So yeah. Boop-a-doo-boo-boo. I like keep thinking, I'm like, what is moving on my model? And then I forget, oh yeah, it's the stupid hands. Well, the hands aren't stupid, but it's just, I just go like, oh wait, what the heck is on my model? Oh my gosh. Here, let me just zoom out a little bit. Be able to do this. There we go. Sometimes you gotta zoom out a little bit. Do. I will say for the most part, I've been actually looking at, on, like, I don't know why, but I've just been looking at a whole lot of people and how they do their comics. Like, I see, like, a lot of comments on Twitter for, like, fast comics. Most of the ones that I have been looking at are NSFW comics, but it still applies because I'm basically looking at how different people, like, create comics and stuff. And I found out at the end of the day, there is no way to make a comic, and you just have to figure out your way. There are some, like, do's and don'ts of comic stuff. Like, you know, make sure that a word bubble doesn't, like, cover up a person unless you make it a stylistic choice, which I have done for some cases of the comic. because that particular character wasn't being referenced or talked about. It was like a conversation between two other characters. So I was able to place like word bubbles and stuff in front of their face because they're not in this conversation. You know, everything that's being talked about right now is literally just, let's focus on these two other characters, right? But still remember that this character is also in the scene. So that's kind of how I played that one. I have been rethinking of how I want to do the word bubbles a lot. Like, way too much with what we're thinking about redoing how the word bubbles look. But, yeah. Hold on, I need to pull up. I'm gonna, you can't see it over here, but I'm gonna delete this. I'm gonna open up. I need to open up a, there you are. So glad you can't see this. I just need to double check a thing. I have like a character art of him, so I just am like, okay, let me remember what his, okay. Alright, that is correct. That's how I did want it. Alright. And then, so it's dark there. Alright, and that's red. I just want to double check if this was this red or not. Actually, in the comic, I will say this much. When I was drawing it, I was drawing a character, and then I was like, oh, you know what, I kind of like this color better for that character instead of this color that I had been using. Or I honestly think I just forgot what color was for some things. But the great thing is that I separate a lot of my colors up. So like I separate a lot of my layer colors up. So it's easy for me to just click on that layer. And the best way in Clip Studio to click on the layer if you're on regular is go into Object, into Operation Object, and you can click on whatever you want and it will bring you to that exact layer. So if I wanted to edit the skin, I would just click and it brings me to that exact layer, which is, I'm gonna be honest, really fucking helpful. So if you ever, like, and a lot of people put like a lot of different shortcuts, literally just go into Object, and most, I have it set to A, but Object I believe is set to like whatever it is on the hotkeys. You can look up in preferences, but like I see all the different things of these like shortcuts of like hold this and that button and then click and then it will lead you directly to it. I'm like, no, just switch over to Object, because then you can just switch over to Brush and then continue on. Like, that's faster in my opinion. Just go over to Object, click it, and then go back to Brush. It's the same exact way. I've been talking so much that my throat's starting to hurt. But yeah. I will say I am very excited to be coming out with this. And it's great to hear that even from my friends that they're very much excited and proud for me as well. And definitely, I will say, this is something very big, and if you're like an artist just starting out, I would not recommend that you do your comic or make a comic. I would say if you want to, make a really small comic. Don't do what I'm doing. Don't do it. I don't know why I'm doing this the way that I'm doing it. I apparently am just crazy and insane, okay? But don't do what I'm doing in trying to make a giant comic. And the thing is, I say it's giant, but I think it's gonna be much smaller than I anticipated it to be. And for the most part, I'm aiming between maybe like 100-ish chapters, which I'm gonna be honest, let me break down what 100 chapters to you are. 100 chapters is like maybe 10 volumes. Maybe. Or like, here, let me actually like look at this. Hold on, I have a I have a bunch of manga collections. Let me see like mostly how many chapters are usually in a manga. That's my biggest one that I have. I think this one's the biggest. Oh, this got a comic industry award? Excuse me? When did this happen? Okay. Here, let me see. Okay, so if there's five volumes, at least with this particular comic, there's 5 volumes, which the one I picked up with was Witch Hat Altair, was the one that I picked up. This is volume 7, and I didn't even realize it won a Will Eisner Comic Industry Award. It won an award? I'm not surprised with how beautiful the art is in here. I highly recommend, even if you don't read Witch Hat Altair, just look at the art. I'm gonna be honest, the art in this is very much inspiration. A lot of it is. Actually, there's a character in here where their inspiration for how their mobility chair works was very much an inspiration to how Selvic's chair works. By the way, yes, Selvic does have a mobility aid that he uses. He uses his own magic and ability to be able to move it. We will talk about that when I'm drawing Selvic. But I see the chapters here because it says like contents, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chapters. So if in a book like this, which some of these pages are like, you know, I would say that it would about be this length per chapter. That means if there's 5 in each volume and I want to do 100, that's like 20 volumes. So technically, relatively speaking, that's actually pretty small. That's actually pretty normal or average to do 20 volumes, right? A lot more graphic novels nowadays are, you know, like we can look at Lore Olympus, and those are like pretty big, so they encompass like way more chapters. And I think like Lore Olympus, actually let me pick up Lore Olympus because I have it. I have it down on my shame shelf. It's on the bottom shelf. It's on the shame shelf. Because I just want to see. I want to see like how many chapters this includes. Oh, hello, honey. You don't have a content of like how many chapters you have in here? Excuse me. You should tell me that. Does it say anywhere? It does not. It does not say anywhere how many chapters this includes. I will tell you, it is a lot. I can tell by the art. But the other thing is like, with these comics in particular, like, because these were web comics at one point, I will say the orientation and how they're, like, oriented is very much, like, not great, in my opinion. You have to, like, really think about it. Hold on, I'm trying to think. Okay, well, hold on. Let me just... Oh, wow, there's special chapters in here that aren't in here normally, I guess. So, let me, like... I want to just see. It gets up to 25. So, in this giant Lore Olympus for Volume 1, or, like... there's 25. But this is a pretty big, like, hefty book, compared to, like, normal comics. So it's, like, depends how many chapters I want to put into, like, one-ish volume. So, like, yeah. I'm gonna just put this over here. No, Altair should go on top of you, because you're a shitty book. I love the art of Lore Olympus. Hate the fucking story. That story can burn and die in a ditch. But so that's a little showing. So either of how many chapters that I want to do. Now again, will it get to that? I'm saying like I would like it to be 100, but I don't know if I'll get to it. Because the other thing is it depends how I move the story along and how the connections between the story. Because there might be some, I will tell you this much, there might be some moments of the travel just kind of happens, or like, you know, not talking about traveling between different places, or there is a discussion because maybe there is a problem with the travel, you know? Because for the first, like, I would say 7 arcs, or like the beginning of the stories, like the 7 arcs are gonna be talking about like going to different places and achieving like different like powers from different areas. Basically, the first half of it is basically we're trying to find we're trying to find like these all-powerful items. And then the second half of it is we need to get people together in order to fight a war. And in that is when most of revelations begin to happen. So there's going to be a lot of revelations that are going to be happening, but, you know, I'm going to try and pace it out bit by bit and not just wham you with a whole bunch of them. Because if I do that, I feel like it might be a little bit disingenuous. And yeah. There also are going to be some chapters that will be covering the bad guys and all of their kind of thing and what their hierarchy is to kind of show you them off. So that's why I'm saying like it might be about 100. It depends on how it goes. You know, I would say even if I get to 50 chapters, hey, that's a great story at the end of the day, you know? And at the end of the day, it ends when I end it. I know what the ending is. When we get to the ending, that's the ending. And yay, happiness all around. Is it a happy ending? Yeah. I mean, it ends. That's all I will say. Oh. It ends. So there's a lot of stuff that does happen between characters, and I'm mainly focusing on, I know where each of the plot points go. The only thing I don't really know for right now, which I'm going to be like thinking about a little bit more as I get to it, is more of the second half, because I know the first half. The first half got it down. The second half is the part where I'm trying to think. But you might be like, oh, you should have your entire stuff down before you really start making stuff. And yeah, I probably should have. But again, like, I already know everything that's going to happen. Why can I not draw this necklace? I swear to God. I know everything that is going to happen. I know what's going to occur. I know when it's going, I know at what plot points it's going to happen. I know how possibly certain characters are going to react to those situations, but it's more of the second half of it is when we get a lot more of building up to this final battle, which a lot of people might think that's the climax, is the final battle. It is not. It is not the climax of the story. The climax happens in it, but the climax is not that battle. And we'll definitely discuss that more because there are going to be certain situations of how I set things up of why it's not. Okay, so you have... Let me just do that. Oh yeah, I'm gonna say close. Do 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 do. And then oh.
Your man is at the doctor. He will be prescribed extras and snoo.
Hi, Jose. What the fuck? Excuse me? Okay. Wait, I thought you have Mondays off now. I like how you just come in, it's like, wait, what? Why the fuck are you? Don't ask, okay? Starting next week. Oh, okay, so you have Wednesday off today, alright. I was like, oh, I thought, you know. I don't know. I don't think. I'm not smart. I ain't smart. I have no smarts. I think this needs to be smaller. There we go. But hey, everyone give a round of applause. Jose is here. Wow. No, checking. No, I just. Anyways, I need to start doing hair. We have a hair. There we go. I was almost apparently going to draw it with the shape tools. That would have been funny. Bro, just imagine trying to do a challenge of drawing my characters, but with the shape tools. Oh, actually, that would be a really funny challenge to do. Draw characters, but only with the shape tool. Do. Oh, ads are gonna start in a minute. The time is just flying by because I'm just like talking about so much of the comic stuff. But I'm just so excited for it, man. It's been so many years that I've been thinking about doing this. I actually was thinking about starting it last year, but I was like, nah, there's so many things I need to work on right now that I'm just like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't. I will say commissions might become infrequent because there might be some times where I just have to dedicate time to working on the comic. So for those that do wish to commission me very often, just know that commissions might be a little bit more iffy here and there. And I'll open them when I can and when I feel that I can do them. Once I pass and... I work four 10-hour days instead of I work 4 10-hour days instead of 8 5-hour days? Really? Why are they making you work 10 hours? Like that, why? That just seems like, I don't know, a little, not terrible, but like, why? Or just why? Yeah, once you join Tile's team, you work 2 extra hours every day, but you get an extra day off. Well, I mean, yeah, I guess you're working 4 days, which is actually better. Bro, imagine if they give you, I'll tell you this much. If you get Sunday and Monday off, you're gonna thank them for giving you Wednesday off too. Because then you can basically, you have, or not Wednesday, but Thursday, right? So it's like you still get a 40-hour work week. Well, remember in California, they might be changing it to where you can work, like they're lowering the hours of a full work week to, instead of it being 40 hours, it's gonna be like 32 or something. To encourage 4-hour work week, or 4-day work weeks. But also because then you can't say like, oh, you're just working part-time because you're under 40 hours. Oh, but Jose, I want either Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, or Sunday, Monday, Thursday. Yeah, those would be the best ones. The reason being is because then you work a day, and then you have the next day off, and then you have 3 more days until your next weekend, right? So you're basically, you know, or basically you work 2 days, and then you have a day off, and then you work another 2 days, and then you have 2 days off. Because then I either get a 3-day weekend, or I work 2 days day off, work 2 days weekend. Yeah, that's actually the better one. People have been saying like, and this is something that I should probably put into my schedule a little bit more, of being like, these are the days that I should stream, and these are the days that I shouldn't stream. And make it more like that, so that then I can like build my stuff around it. Because then it's like, oh, these are the days that I work. But then it's like, that would make it really hard, because I'm like, oh, well, I need to do my comic work too, so that's gonna be a little bit difficult, isn't it? So, yeah, I'm gonna go with this. We still have to do his horns and stuff. So let's get the horns. Oh, actually, Jose, I do need you to... I want to read my comic aloud to you later today, because I need to check spelling. I need my spell check. I need my spell checker. Plus once I join Tiles, I get paid $26 an hour. Get paid extra $2 here after I join. Ah, so then you go up to like $28. Tiles team is basically equivalent of senior employee or supervisor in training. Damn. They'll get a lot of money. I've been talking so much, my throat hurts. I'm gonna draw the eye here, and then I'm gonna reflect it. Because we reflect things. No. No, stop that. Arrow. Do. Yeah, our pay raise system is a little weird because it's based on games you know and time in the company. That makes sense. Do. And then oh, it's in the darker shade. There we go. And we're gonna take this, flip it. There we go. Oh, I should probably make a little folder for the face here really quickly. I'm sorry if I'm like running out of steam, but oh my goodness, my throat freaking hurts. My throat and my voice are slowly leaving me. Oh, are you kidding me? Alright. One thing I have to really remember about Luthador's character design is that he has massive, and I mean like, his pupils are his irises are much bigger. And the reason being that they're much bigger is because he's supposed to be underground. He's supposed to be like a character he's supposed to be he's from the underground, so he has he needs his eyes to be bigger to be able to take in more light. It's like sometimes I forget to do that. And da. There we go. And then there we go. And then do teeth. The one problem that I do have is, I don't know why, but I can't draw, like, characters with shark teeth anymore. I used to be able to. Now I can't. I used to be able to draw people with their mouths open, and now it's just like, for some reason, I have lost the ability to do so. And I don't know why. It's not like it's difficult. It's just like I lost the ability to do it. There we go. That's all I can do for now. Ah, why am I pulling up the eraser? He's supposed to look terrifying with his mouth, but not that terrifying. Jesus Christ. It's like, I want my character to look scary. I don't want him to be that fucking scary. Oh, I'm on eraser for some reason still. That sound was too big. There we go. think that might work out better. Yee. Yees. Yees all around. Yippee. Oh my gosh. Trying to do his mouth is just terrible. I don't know why, like, the ability to draw, like, Luthor's mouth in particular has just eluded me suddenly. I haven't been able to draw it so much recently. The ability to draw people with, like, open mouths for some reason, I've just lost the ability to, like, remember how to do it. But I will say and hope that with drawing the comic that I might get better at it. But who fucking knows? Oh my goodness. Oh, excuse me, I don't know where that came from. So, I could go back and work on the hair, but I don't really know. I kind of want to finish Luthador to just have something finished, you know, for a stream. Thankfully, his color palette is pretty easy. And the thing is, with most of these characters, I've dumbed down their color palettes a lot more. Because I will tell you this much. I freaking hated drawing Chaos for the prologue. Because their color palette was a lot. And the reason I say it was a lot is because, one, I didn't really separate it up too well as I should have done, but also because their design was kind of very complex. And I'm gonna be honest, out of all of the characters that I have drawn so far, I feel like Fira and Chaos are gonna be the two that I hate drawing the most. And the reason I say that is because Fira is really complicated in her armor that she has. I have to draw all of that, right? You have to render it, right? So she's gonna be terrible to render. She's not gonna be terrible to draw, she's gonna be terrible to render. But the other character that I feel like I might hate drawing the most is Selvek, but that's because of his hair. Because the way of how his hair is, because they're in, here, if I go back over to Selvek really quickly. But Selvek has, his chair is going to be also very difficult as well. But his hair will definitely probably be a little bit more difficult to render. I will say over time, I've gotten used to drawing his hair. I've drawn his hair, like, at least several times by now, that I just know kind of how to draw it. And, as you might be able to suggest, he does have dreadlocks, basically. Because I thought it would be cool for him to have that. Also, I don't know if I might keep his hair being blonde. Because his hair was, like, bright blonde. But I'm wondering about changing that. But the reason that I have it be blonde is so you can kind of see him, because he's the shortest of the bunch, and his bright hair kind of pokes out between everybody. But I might change it to being like a different color. And I was thinking, because George has green hair, like maybe I should just go green, but then I'm like, should I though? So I'm debating on what I want to kind of change their hair color to. So might have to experiment a little bit with the coloring on that before I really continue on with it. But yeah, so fun stuff to know. But anyways, without any further ado, let's continuously going with this, right? Oh, excuse me. Yeah, for the most part, you are completed with the coloring, except for the one thing you're missing is your hair ties that you have. And some other little, like, details here and there. Ooh. Yeah, let me... No, and then it's this one for the regular. Ooh. Gotta shift that over. I will say I love drawing this tie, but I'm gonna
crab, flea, scare, crab, frighten, crab, and
I love drawing the tie and all of this sort of stuff, but I'm gonna be really sad when I can't draw that anymore because Luthador doesn't have that until very much later on. Because that's when he gets married. I've talked about it a little bit here and there, but it will be discussed a little bit. Because some characters will talk about, so you know the idea of, of tying the knot? Well, in some cultures of the world of my lore comic is they will say, like, have you ever thought of, you know, tying the hair instead? Which means, like, tying the knot with somebody. And that's kind of still where it comes from in a way. Which is really cute. And fun. But it's also kind of just interesting as well with how I wanted to make the world. But that does mean that only people... And it's only certain communities, because you'll see that... Golith and Fira have their hair, like, pulled back, but you'll see most other people in their culture that they do have their hair pulled back, but they're not married. The way that you tell that they're married is Golith has a tattoo, and Fira has earrings. So her jewelry on her ear tells you. And you'll see that. Because the one thing with people that have their hair tied is that they share a similarity of how the hair is tied. So there will always be a similarity between the two. The only ones that don't have that technically is art and how I've drawn Jose. So... they're the only ones that don't kind of share that, but what they do share instead is with the new 2.0 that I'm kind of making for Jose, I'm adding his so Art has an upside down heart that's supposed to be the crest of her family, so she has it and Jose will have it as well displayed so that people can see it. So that's like the way that we're gonna kind of show it instead, which is something a little bit more concrete. But the people that believe in the hair tying for marriage is Luthador's people and Art's people do that. Other communities do different things. Because the one thing is that I took like 2 beginning anthropology classes that kind of told me, like, you know, and the different way that people teach anthropology is very different. But one thing is like how basically broke down, like with beginning anthropology, kind of broke down how basically how most of basically the beginning of cultures and communities and how people function within those communities, and that there are certain like things that just everybody does, and So it's like, and marriage is one big thing that is a part of the communities. So I was just like, well, how does all of this like connect? And I was like, well, what if the hair ties are the marriage? So, because I didn't want to use rings and all of that, because at the end of the day, this is a fantasy world and these are not humans. So I wanted to emphasize that fact by just you cannot apply certain things to this world because they are not human. So I was like, how do I emphasize that? I know. So yeah, that's kind of what ended up happening there. I need to go back down to here because there's something I missed. Which was, I forgot to put in Luthador's claws. Actually, a lot of communities I realized actually have claws, but the reason that these guys have them is because they need them to be able to grip onto rocks. So their claws are pretty indestructible. Because they gotta crawl around and climb. That's also why they have these pads here. I don't know if you noticed, but I sketched out pads, like finger pads and little paw pads for them, and the reason being is because they're climbing around on harder rocks and stuff, so it's to prevent calluses, basically, because they basically already have like a built-in thing to protect their hands. Biologically thinking here, you know? Because I just drew him, whatever, and then I was like, oh, what if he has like this on here? Because that would make sense. So that's what happened. That's what we got, and that's how it's been. Also, another biological thing that I added to Luthador and all of his people is this this coloration on the arms, which is, this is a way for you to know how old they are. I don't know why I did this, I just thought it looked kind of cool, but these are not gloves, this is actual coloration on him. Like, this is a skin coloration. And then the other thing I did was, I was like, ooh, you know what would be kind of cool is if I put some darker shade here or something like that, just to be cool and edgy and stuff. And also my headset just alerted me to saying, hey, your battery is low on your headset, you need to charge this soon, so we might be ending stream soon. That's what that means. Sadly, we will have to be. But yeah, so this is just, this is actual skin coloration pigmentation, so it's supposed to be there. And I still don't know why I haven't put it on the feet. I'm just gonna leave it. Less I have to worry about. But yeah, so for the most part, we are almost done here with at least putting all the colors down. And that's important. Hey, who was gonna tell me that I almost forgot to do the wings? Who here was gonna tell me I almost forgot to do them wings? I don't recall what I painted this with. It's okay. I think what I did is I would make it this color. I'm still like debating how I kind of want the wings done. Don't worry, I'm just doing it like this to kind of just put the color down. Oh. Pupper be barking. I don't know what at. I'll round out the edges a little bit here and there. Don't worry. And there we go. And this and this. There we go. And then, yes, this will kind of go over this back area here. I just need to grab this color, because this is something that I did forget to do, which was I forgot that with Luthador's wings in particular, he has a color, he has a gradient over them. Hi, puppers! There we go. I will say the brightness compared to how his color palette is just popping. It be popping, man. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Hi, puppers! I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna come on, you can come up. There you go. And then I'm gonna go over to here, and specifically here. No, what I needed to do actually was do this, and then click on this. There we go. Because... oh. I want to do that. Just for that area. I'm not erasing it, I'm just masking it out. The thing is, I will say this much, I mostly try and use masks with illustrations, but for the comic and stuff, I'm just gonna probably try and color it out just to save save space. But yeah, so without any further ado, that is the flat colors for Luthador, which is great. The only thing that we're missing is the strings, right? That's what we want. So I'm gonna actually put another thing and just say string. And then I'm gonna do this with a brighter color and make it, I say bright, but it's not really a bright color. But what we're going to do is basically make it look like the origin point is at the tip here. That sounds so wrong as it is. And then, what was the other one? And lastly, I did want this one as well. And then just to kind of have a variety here. And I just kind of wanted one to kind of come out of it. To kind of break a little bit of the stuff. There you go. Oh my god. What? What? Yeah, no, Luthador's a lot. Don't worry about it. It's okay. It's just how I draw characters.
I will send you to Jesus.
What? What do you mean you'll send me to Jesus? What did I do? I'm just sitting here drawing some characters. That's all I'm doing. I don't know what you're thinking. Ow! What? What? What did I do? Thank you for the save. I actually haven't saved in a while. I probably should. Oh my goodness. No problem. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I needed it. I'm gonna move... Wait, what? Oh, oops. I'm gonna move all of this over. To be more centered. Because I'm gonna put a backsplash art on this. But I just don't have it done yet. No, I'm not making a sweet potato. I'm sorry, this is being time-lapsed for an actual thing. I'm not drawing a sweet potato on this one. And I make a sweet potato every time. I don't need to make a sweet potato all the time. Ow. Yeah. I could start doing the shading if I wanted to, but if I start on it, we're gonna be here another hour, probably. I don't need to be here another hour. So, here's an idea of the black backsplash that's gonna be behind him, but this is going to be different because I'm using the same color as his legs. So, what we're kind of gonna do is just make this a little bit darker back here. But he will get like a little backsplash behind him. But for right now, this is the couldn't whip. So let me just... It looks like I did forget to draw certain things here and there, so I will re-put that in. Do. So much easier to do that. Oh wait, no, this isn't. I was like, oh, I forgot to put the color in here. No. It's just the background. It's just the back. Should probably maybe turn this down even more then. But so far this is Luthador whip of the day. Will this pop up with it? I don't think so. I am actually recording a time lapse, but I just want to see how this looks. I'm like watching the time lapse a little bit here just to see. It's like a 1 minute time lapse, which is really nice because that gives me more than enough time to talk about the character when I talk about him. And all it looks like it's gonna be like a minute or so, but who knows. You can see me struggling with the fucking mouth. That's hilarious. You can't see it, but let's just say my mouse cursor, me moving this, it's actually a window, but you just can't see it. So here, let me see. Pause. So right now it's gonna be like over a minute, which is pretty good. And apparently I did hear that that for some reason, like if it's a minute long on TikTok now, like it'll be pushed out more. And I'm just like, cool, but I'm also trying to make it into much more longer form content as well. So what I might do is even post these out onto TikTok in like, you know, over a minute things of just doing a speed paint of the stuff and just having it be like a whole entire collection of it. So it's like I have more specified stuff for YouTube, right? Yeah. So let me just kind of exit out of here. I wanted to do Luthador because I draw enough of myself as art all the time. So if we can draw other characters. So here, so we have like a folder of all the sketches, but next we're gonna do Taida, and then Veril, and then Selvik here, Golith, and Fira we sketched out today. So there's a few people that we have to do further down the line. Which, by the way, I might even just be doing some of their coloring offline, and then, like, sometimes I'll just, like, you know, be like, hey, let's kind of, like, draw some of these characters, because I have these, and I'll just pull it out, and be like, yeah, reminder, I'm making a comic with these characters as the main cast in it, so, and Luthador is part of the main cast, so Luthador is the one that we did today. And I might even finish him offline, so, I don't know. So, but, you know, it's cool to kind of get the color done, and then you kind of get to see the progress and the process of it. A little bit of all the coloring that is happening. Actually, I almost forgot something. He is not done yet. And something I need to do before we move on is I forgot to put his triangle stripes. He has these triangles. I honestly don't know why I put these as part of his design. I just did. And I like it for some reason. Oh, but I need to do it reverse on this side. And the other thing I almost forgot as well was I almost forgot to put the symbol. Because everybody, once they get to the end, are gonna have like a symbol. And Luthador is wearing this one. So let's kind of clean this up and finish it up a little bit. Oh my goodness, okay. We're apparently not going to do that correctly. There we go. Perfect. Alright. And with that, we're kind of gonna be possibly done for the day. Because I'm gonna be honest, like, my back's starting to hurt. And you know, it's really bad when my back is starting to hurt a lot, and it's like, I kind of gotta go, even though I wanna continue on drawing, but it's like, I need to go. I need to walk the dog. I need to take care of myself. But let me just export this as a whip. Yeah, I did save. Let me say export JPEG. I don't know if it's me, but I've been feeling like a lot of like little subtle earthquakes here and there, and I'm like, oh, I think we just had an earthquake. But it's so subtle, it's so small that I'm just like, eh. So yeah, I'm gonna save this out in a smaller. Just to kind of like show what we've been working on today. So, and something that I can post up with the thumbnail and stuff like that for YouTube as well. Because people apparently like seeing the sketches of your progress or like whips of your projects. So, yee. But yeah. So that's gonna be it for today. I think I'm gonna take. I think my model has had enough of little rubs for today. So let's get my clothes back on too. And without any further ado, we're gonna be ending. So let's go over here. But I do want to talk with you guys a little bit before we leave. So I have a lot of things that I want to do and get done. So I have to like really plan it out. And I'm just like thinking about, I'm like, I need like a calendar plan or something. But then I'm just like, yeah. But I'm gonna try and be working on making some other content for TikTok and YouTube Shorts in particular, which is like little short form content. And also, of course, turning like, you know, trying to do these time lapses and see if like making them into content might also help in a little bit of things of getting my search engine optimization out there. But who knows? And honestly, at the end of the day, it's just fun to do time lapses and post them up and just see if you guys like it. Because I know, like, back in the day when I was doing it, a lot of people found it interesting to kind of see how that was. Hold on, let me just... I'm gonna snooze ads for the next 5 minutes. So yeah. The other thing is, too, is that in my neck of the woods, if you did find me or follow me through TikTok, I said it earlier, but it's probably best for people to probably follow me through my other social medias, because we don't know if TikTok is going to be leaving us soon. At least in my neck of the woods in particular. But yeah. Also, if any of you are wondering about the analog horror and stuff, that guy is gonna go on hiatus for a long while. The reason being is because I have so many other things that I'm working on currently that I kind of can't work on that as much as I loved actually making it, but it will be continued. It's probably gonna take me a while to get to it or get back into doing it, because again, it's just me editing all my content and getting everything that I need to done. Hold on, I'm like getting stuff arranged a little bit. It's only me making my content and getting everything done, and it takes a long time to get everything. Like, literally, I'm probably gonna spend about like an hour or two after stream. One, spending some time to decompress, and then I have to come back, sit down here, and clip everything, edit it, and prepare it for it going out. And then it's like, also, I kind of want to edit some other content that I was making anyways. So today is editing day, and most of my stream days are going to be like content editing days. And then on my days off, it's like working on the comic and getting other things done as well. So, hooray. So yeah, there's a lot of things that kind of need to get done here and there, of all the content that needs to kind of be prepared and done with. So yeah, let me just put this here, and then I need to do all right. So yeah. But I am planning on opening up commissions for a month in May, just to kind of like help to possibly eventually lead up to getting a computer, so I have like a better computer to be able to stream from. Like for doing all my art stuff and everything that needs to get done, like this is pretty fine, but like I am gonna need some other stuff to be able to do everything I need to do. Let me see. Who is streaming right now? You know what? Sure. I'm like really tired. I'm probably gonna just raid and run because I'm extremely tired. Let me see. You know what? Let's just raid somebody I haven't raided in a long while. And when I mean a long while, I mean like a really long while. Oh yeah. So let me see. And then I will say what I probably need to do is go to bed earlier so I have more time earlier on before I stream to like work on stuff. But like right now I've just been so terrible at doing that. I'm just here. I'm drinking some water, like some more tea, because my throat really hurts. It's because I was hyper fixated on talking about so many things that I was just like, oh no, snooze another 5 minutes, my goodness. Sorry, I'm also like writing down stuff that needs to get done. And then let me do... and then just... There we go. Perfect. There we go. Also, let me just check the date. Oh, okay. So, yeah. That's what I figured. Anyways, without any further ado, let's actually get the raid going. I do want to thank you guys for like coming here and enjoying me talking a little bit about my upcoming comic. So let me just like reiterate this again. The comic will possibly be debuted in June. The reason I keep pushing it back is because I want to be able to give you guys something good, and also because I want to work on chapter 1, so you're not just getting the prologue, because that's all I have is just the prologue, but I also want to bring you guys the first chapter, so we kind of start going into the actual story, and these are the characters that we have, right? So that's kind of what I'm working with. But yeah, so that's that is my plan. So let me get who we're gonna raid up. And let me get the raid message going so all you guys can collect the raid message. And I am going to be working on it in the background. If you want to see maybe any of the progress, or like maybe I might post up some progress pictures, there are little whips that I am posting up on Twitter and stuff. But I would say if you maybe want to see fuller whips, I might start posting it on Ko-Fi for those that have donated. That means that you just have to, like, you could just donate $1 and you'd be able to see it. Of course, if it's NSFW stuff, that would probably be more in the memberships. So, or if you want, like, early access to the chapters or something like that. But I don't know how I would be able to do that, because how Ko-Fi kind of works is not really that great. But, you know, I'm just going to be making it like, you know, if you want to, you can pay. If you don't want to, you don't have to, because eventually the project is going to come out anyways for everybody to be able to see and enjoy. That's my main purpose of the entire thing. And even when I was creating it, I was like, I want this to be free and available. And I kind of feel that's really shitty with Webtoon, because I don't want to get a thing of like, hey, you can be part of Canvas now, and, you know, you be a Webtoon exclusive. And it's like, I am myself, I can't be drawing the amount that you guys ask. I stream, I do other things, I can't be able to compete with that. So let me get the raid started too. So there's a lot of things behind the scenes that are going on when it comes to a lot of stuff, and I'm just like, you know what, I'm just going to create what I want to create, and that's what I'm going to do. And then we're going to have fun doing it. So yeah. Also, the other thing is we're going to be continuing our charity stream. This is the last week of doing it. I know I haven't been talking a whole lot about it and stuff like that, but it's just because I've been so busy with so many other things, and it's like, April was not the best month to do this in. But I will say for next month, what I'm planning is revealing the 2.0 officially, so that you'll be able to unlock that. And the other thing is that I'll probably be talking about the comic more as it comes closer to possibly the release date. My personal thing is I want to release it in early June, but I might release it in later June. That just means at the end, because again, I want to be able to also bring you guys chapter 1 as well. But I think, I will say 12 pages for the prologue was a lot, and chapter 1 is probably going to be a little bit smaller than that, and a little bit more easily to achieve. So without any further ado, as I always say, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all for being here. I really am happy for this comment to be coming out. And as I always say, may the winds guide you. Until next time. Goodbye, everybody.